what's happening around the world and what's happening here at home.
A very good Wednesday evening to all our viewers. You're watching Primetime News on TV1, bringing you the news and Mariam Ganavijaya.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at the headlines for tonight.
Domestic debt optimization is a significant step, but complications may arise, says Fitch. President as the finance minister issues gazette, vesting officials with power to decide on domestic debt optimization. Economists warn that domestic debt optimization would impact the EPF.
ට්‍රිලියන් 25කට විතර වැඩි වෙනවා. 9.1 විතරක් ලැබුණොත් ඕක වැඩි වෙන්නේ ට්‍රිලියන 13කට විතර වගේ තමයි. 2038 වෙනකොට ට්‍රිලියන් 12ක පාඩුවක්.
SGB responds to president's invitation.
අපිට අවශ්‍ය නැහැ මේ පොහොට්ටු කෝට්ටුවේ කිහිලිකරු බවට පත් වෙන්න. ගමේ බෙදිලා ගහගත්තට හොරාකන රාජපක්ෂලා සහ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහලා ගහලා තියෙන දේශපාලන ඩීල් එක ගේම් එක තේරුම් ගන්න.
අපිට එකට වැඩ කරන්න පරිසරය හදනවා නම් මුලින් කල යුතුව තිබෙන්නේ රටේ ජනතාවගෙන් අලුත් ජනමතයක් ලබා ගන්න.
LP gas prices reduced once again. Tarindu Uduwaragedera summoned to CID, while Darshana Hanungara summoned to Financial Crimes Division.
On to your lead story this evening. Fitch Ratings says the Sri Lankan government's proposal for treatment of domestic debt marks a significant step towards resolving uncertainties around the impact of the sovereign's debt restructuring on the local banking sector.
However, the ratings agency's statement highlights that complications may arise from a number of factors.
Fitch Ratings said that the proposal excludes banks' holdings of Sri Lankan rupee-denominated treasury securities, which will alleviate some of the pressure on their already stressed capital positions from the weakening loan quality and the rupee's depreciation. Fitch's base case did not expect treasury bills held by banks to be subject to restructuring, but assumed banks' treasury bond holdings would be. Fitch said that bank holdings of Sri Lanka Development Bonds (SLDBs), which are foreign currency denominated but governed by local law, will be affected as anticipated, and Fitch expects an impact on international sovereign bonds as well. Fitch does not believe a restructuring of the sovereign's local currency obligations is likely to trigger a loss of depositor confidence in the banking system based on the proposed plans. However, funding stress remains a negative sensitivity for bank ratings. The resolution for the implementation of the domestic debt optimization was passed by a majority vote in Parliament on the 1st of July. And as per the powers vested with the Finance Minister, the President issued a gazette, newspaper advertisement and an open letter with regard to the DDO program. President Ranil Wickremesinghe as the Finance Minister had authorized the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies and the Registrar of Public Debt to take several measures with regard to the domestic debt optimization program. Accordingly, the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies and the Registrar of Public Debt are authorized to create and issue under Registered Stock and Securities Ordinance such an amount of the Treasury bonds as may be necessary for the conversion or exchange of the securities. The Finance Ministry also published a newspaper article with regard to the domestic debt optimization program. Sri Lanka has made the offer to restructure domestic debts as part of efforts to meet International Monetary Fund targets to make government debt sustainable after sovereign default. Sri Lanka is offering to swap debt in provident funds for new instruments with a longer duration in line with an extended fund facility of the IMF. At the same time, President Ranil Wickremesinghe as the Finance Minister had written an open letter to holders of superannuation bonds and eligible bonds for a domestic debt exchange program. The invitation to exchange is an arrangement through which eligible holders of eligible bonds can submit their holdings of eligible bonds denominated in Sri Lankan rupees for a basket of new T bonds to be issued with the same aggregate principal amount but extended average maturity compared with the eligible bonds. It also notes that whilst the invitation to exchange is directed primarily at the superannuation funds, other eligible bondholders may submit offers which the state will consider on a case-by-case basis. The letter also goes on to note that there is no restriction in trading these new bonds in the secondary market. According to Sri Lanka's domestic debt optimization program, government securities and the securities obtained by superannuation funds will be reissued as treasury bonds. Superannuation funds will receive a benefit of 12% until 2025, and from onwards it will be fixed for 9%.
Executive Director, Verite Research, Dr. Nishan Dimel, explained the effect on pension funds through his arrangement during the Pathikada program.
රාජ්‍යය මේ බැඳුම් කර
What is the interest rate that the government has given to these bonds in the market? By the end of this year, the average interest rate of all bonds is 13.5%. This 13.5% will not decrease, nor will it increase. That is the normal value which can be considered in the future, because if we look at the current value, if we get that value by 2038, the EPF value of 3.4 trillion today will increase to about 25 trillion by that time. If you get only 9.1, it will increase to only 13 trillion, which means that it's a loss of 12 trillion. It was repeatedly said that this was voluntary. It is not an optimization. There is no ability to reach it voluntarily. It is a forceful reduction. The haircut from foreign creditors is now written at 30% without any consideration. The EPF fund will be slashed by 70% between inflation and the proposed program. 30% is demanded from foreign creditors.
විදේශ නාහිමියන්ගෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ 30%යි.
The Labour Struggle Centre visited the central bank on Tuesday to question about the domestic debt optimisation programme.
The central bank governor and President Ranil Wickremesinghe repeatedly said that restructuring will not impact the EPF and the bank interest rates. It was proven to be a lie. What has happened now? The ruling elite of this country, including the Rajapakshas and Ranil, ruined the economy, and the burden of that destruction is now on the EPF and the laurels of the private sector employee. The central bank governor says that it would not impact the banks, and that is how it was done. Who are they trying to hide? 18% of the treasury bonds are with a handful of private businessmen in the country. 17% of these funds are linked to perpetual treasuries, Arjuna Mahindran and Arjuna Aloysius. That 17% will not be touched. So the central bank governor should not use the banks as scapegoats. Our question is, why are the bonds held by these infamous businessmen not taken into account?
Former Minister Udaya Gamanpela elaborated on the impact of the development bond and dollar loan optimization proposal.
A 30% capital cut from both bonds and dollar loans would cost banks 97 billion rupees. Apart from this, there will be a 35% interest reduction. We have not calculated how much the loss will be to the banks. In the whole process of domestic debt optimization, we can confidently state that the loss to the banks is more than 97 billion rupees.
Parliamentarian of the Samagi Jana Balawege, Chaminda Vijayasiri, clarified facts on the transfer of powers related to the President and his capacity as the Minister of Finance with regards to the debt optimization today.
What was happening previously was that the Rajapaksa government was elected and they looted. Ranil Wickremesinghe was elected to take them down and vice versa. This was the political drama they were staging. Now we are trying to tell the people if or not Ranil Wickremesinghe as the Minister of Finance created all the provisions to pass the legislations to legally rob instead of depending on others to do so. MPs of the SLPP used to worship Mahinda Rajapaksa's photograph day and night. Now we see that they do so to Ranil Wickremesinghe's photograph. Although they act as rivals for show, try to understand the political deals they have. Why did Mahinda Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa and Chamal Rajapaksa not attend the parliamentary debate on domestic debt optimization? Ranil wins when the Rajapakshas win, and likewise the Rajapakshas win when Ranil wins.
The Samagi Jana Balawege has questioned what the president is requesting support for. Responding to the president's statement yesterday, the Samagi Jana Balawege said that they cannot help protect the corrupt.
Now, their response was that if the president needs their support, an election should be held.
The president, who attended an event in Hambantota, extended an invitation to the opposition leader.
මෙතනදී සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතුමා ඇතුළු සම්පූර්ණ විපක්ෂයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා. දැන් හරි
I'd like to invite Sajid Premadasa and members of the opposition to join us and work together to solve the problems of the people of this country. Then they can say that they also help the president. We request everyone to unite. There is no point in presenting false arguments. That method has failed. We can talk to the speaker and make arrangements for more responsibilities to be given to them. Please support the government. We will not let anything threaten the title of the opposition leader.
කමට කිසිම තර්ජනයක් වෙන්න අපි ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපි කියන්න කැමතියි.
The Samagi Jana Balawege said that an election should be held before they extend the support the president expects from them.
Why should we support the government? We must clearly state that it is a joke that a party which made this country go bankrupt now extends an invitation for us to work together with them, while creating an environment for us to work together. The first step to be taken is to get a new public mandate. We must tell the president that if he wants to work with us, he should give space for the mandate of the people. We do not want to be a supporter of the SLPP. Terminate all deals with the Rajapakshas and dissolve the parliament. The parliament has no power. Ranil Wickremesinghe should dissolve the existing parliament and take steps for a new parliament to be appointed.
අපි දැක්කා ඊයේ දිනේදී ජනාධිපතිතුමා සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතාට ඇරයීමක් යොමු කරනවා අපිත් එක්ක එක් වෙන්න වැඩ කරන්න. මේ ඇරයීමට ඔබතුමන්ලාගේ ප්‍රතිචාරය මොකක්ද?
However, he is not ready for a discussion. How many times has he said the same thing? He is scared to actually do it.
ලබා දුන්නොත් ඔබතුමන්ලා සාකච්ඡාවට යන්න කැමතිද?
If there is a proper arrangement, we are fine with having a discussion. We'd like to know what he wants to talk about. President Wickremesinghe said that Sajith Premadasa can become president if he supports him. What does this mean? He is hinting that he won't run for the next presidential election. The person who accidentally became president will stay on until the very end to enjoy the perks of the title. He is saying that he will not be supporting Sajith. Supporters of the SLPP do not understand this. Politically analyze this statement.
This was the response of the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna.
සමහර මන්ත්‍රීවරු කියනවා සුදුසුම කෙනා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා අපේ ඔබතුමාට සහාය දක්වනවා. ඒක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා තව කෙනෙකුගෙන් සහාය ඉල්ලලා ඉදිරියේදී එයාට මේ ජනාධිපති වෙන්න සහාය දෙන්න පුළුවන් කියන කතාව දැන් මේක පොඩි පරස්පරයකුත් තියෙනවා මෙතන. ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ හැටියට ඔබතුමා මොකද කියන්නේ?
අපි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාව
We have appointed Ranil Wickremesinghe as the president of the country based on the needs of the country at the time. We have not come to any agreement regarding the matter of what to do next for the remaining term of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. But we know that Ranil Wickremesinghe believes that our country can be developed through a neoliberal economic system. Sajith Premadasa is the person carrying that opinion forward. The president may have the idea of Sajith Premadasa taking over after him, but I am not aware of that. I also saw this fact in today's newspapers. However, during the upcoming presidential election, our party will propose a leader who can boost the national economy of this country for the position of president. It is not who he is, but what policies he agrees with. The Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna will support only those who agree with its policies for the upcoming presidential election.
සහයෝගය දෙන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ පක්ෂයක්.
United National Party Chairman Vajrabe Vardhana elaborated on the matter.
අගමැති වෙන්න හෝ ජනාධිපති වෙන්න. නමුත් ජනාධිපතිතුමා පැහැදිලිව කියනවා ජනාධිපති ධූරය සඳහා මම උදව් කරන්නම් කියලා. ඒකට ඔබතුමාට පැහැදිලිව කියන්න පුළුවන්ද එකතු පහදු වුණොත්ෙන් අගමැති ධූරය දෙන්න බලාපොරොත්තුවක් තියෙනවා.
මම හිතන්නේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියපු කතාව නිවැරදිව තේරුම් ගත යුතුව තිබෙනවා.
It is important to understand the president's speech. He did not speak about accepting the post of prime minister. The message to the opposition leader was the position will be protected, but both the opposition and the government must work together when it comes to national issues. He also said if there is any aspiration to become the president, assistance will be given. I see it as something being told to a child.
අත වශයෙන් ඒක මම දකින්නේ පොඩි ළමයෙකුට කියපු පුංචි කතාවක් හැටියට.
මොකද එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ සජිත් සමග එකතු වෙන්න අදහසක් නැද්ද ඔබතුමාලා?
අපි සියලුම දේශපාලන
We need to bring all the political parties together. We cannot solve this by simply uniting with the breakaway factions.
පමණක් මේ ප්‍රශ්න විසඳන්න බෑ.
The People's Tomorrow convened a media briefing.
There are two factions in the country. One is the people and the other represents the political parties that are against the people. Who called President Ranil Wickremesinghe the bank thief? Who called him the worthless Tarzan? All those in the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna who said such things voted to give Ranil Wickremesinghe the power to decide on the economy. How can the person they termed as useless become worthy today? Did he follow a 3-month training program?
News first with the people.
Litre gas prices were slashed with effect from midnight on Tuesday.
The price of a 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder was reduced by 204 rupees to 2,982 rupees. The price of a 5 kilogram gas cylinder was reduced by 83 rupees and the new price is 1,198 rupees. The price of a 2.3 kilogram gas cylinder was reduced by 37 rupees to 561 rupees.
එදා රුපියල් 5000
The price of a LP gas cylinder that was sold for 5,175 rupees has dropped by 45%. We are once again returning to the price levels that existed before the economic crisis. We hope to bring more good news to the consumers soon.
Before Sri Lanka faced its worst economic crisis, the price of a 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder was at 1,493 rupees. Following which, by January 2022, the price increased to 2,750 rupees. Once again in April 2022, the price of a 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder was increased to 4,860 rupees. However, despite the price of gas cylinders reducing several occasions this year, the price of a gas cylinder is still almost twice the price it was before the economic crisis. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says that fuel shipments for the filling stations that were awarded to Sinopec will reach the island by the end of the month.
150 filling stations have already been provided. The registration process is still ongoing. As far as we know, their first stock of fuel will arrive by the end of this month. By the time the ship arrives, we expect to conclude activities concerning registration and the signing of contracts with the 150 filling stations as well. However, we would not be able to promptly initiate branding using the Sinopec logo, etc. This will take some time. Therefore, a request was made that they sell fuel under the Sipetco brand as per contract.
In a message to the International Digital Marketing Summit, the President said in the face of unprecedented challenges, Sri Lankans demonstrated resilience and determination. The President had noted that it's time to leverage the potential of digital technologies to drive the nation forward, transforming Sri Lanka into a prominent global player in the digital marketing industry.
Activist Tharindu Uduwaragedara was summoned to the CID to record a statement with regard to the comments he made over the arrest of Natasha Edrisuriya, who was remanded for making controversial comments.
I commented on the nature of the arrest and the conduct of the media. I have been summoned to the CID for that. Over the past few decades, we have seen patterns of governance where the rulers always incite the people using lies and racism and thereafter drag the country into an abyss. The people started to understand that group via YouTube videos. According to the present government, there is no greater crime than speaking. The Anti-Terrorism Act relates to expression. They have also appointed a committee to introduce laws against religious defamation. At the same time, they want to introduce a Broadcasting Regulatory Act, and that document was leaked to the media. They are trying to introduce new laws for contempt of court as well as social media regulation. The most serious form of terrorism, according to the government, is freedom of expression.
Social media activist Darshana Handungoda was summoned to the Financial Crime Division in Narahinpita in order to record a statement regarding a YouTube channel.
They say that I sold this channel. The previous channel I worked for was SL Blogs. Some say it belongs to me. It does not belong to me. Our PR is here to show the list of directors.
කවුද මේකේ ඩිරෙක්ටර්ස්ලා කියලා පෙන්නන්න. දැන් මේ මෙච්චර කාලේ channel එකෙන් කරපු එන ඔබතුමාට වක්කීම් බාරගන්න. අහන ප්‍රශ්න වලට ඍජුව හා නිවැරදිව සහ අවංකව උත්තර දෙනවා. ලංකාවේ ආන්දෝලනාත්මක සිදුවීමකට සම්බන්ධ කෙනෙක්. මොකද ඒක මේ මුදල් විශුද්ධකරණයක් කතාවක් නේ තියෙන්නේ.
In the meantime, a group of people who were not included in the Aswasuma welfare benefit scheme protested in Kolonava.
The Samagi Janabalawege organized a protest in Kolonava against the unjust exclusion from the Aswasuma welfare benefit scheme.
We urge the government not to seek revenge from the poor, as they are not at fault. Taxes must be obtained from those who defrauded the state. Think about the poor. Suspend the program against the Samurdhi beneficiaries.
The Jatika Janabalawege spoke to the media on the issues of the Aswasuma welfare benefit scheme.
Every government used this to strengthen their political power, and it was during the election season that the Samurdhi beneficiaries were used as voting machines. When the chairman of the Aswasuma board was summoned to parliament, he was questioned on the calculations. He said 2 million was an approximate figure. Jagat Kumara, who spoke about it, supported the gazette. When there is strong opposition from the people, they start making various statements.
අනුමත කරානේ සහයෝගය දුන්නානේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ පැත්තෙන් විරෝධය එනකොට අපි මරාගෙන මැරිලා හරි මේකත් එක්ක හැප්පෙනවා කියලා කයිවරු ගහනවා.
Concerns are mounting over an attempt being made by a businessman to organize a series of musical shows in Rajanganaya.
Multiple factions, including the Ceylon Teachers Union, stressed that the series of musical shows are to take place from the 9th of July for 20 days.
This event is to take place within the Vilpattu buffer zone, and this person has no right to this area. So how can the police permit the use of loudspeakers on the land that this person has no right to? Conducting such musical shows in this area threatens the environment and also harasses wildlife. If one wants to conduct a musical show, there are many places in Anuradhapura for that, including the ground surrounding the Rajanganaya junction. Why are they trying to creep into the jungle? The people believe that the area contains buried treasures. The rock formation are being destroyed for an ulterior purpose.
A group of Rajanganaya locals responded to these claims.
Rajanganaya Yaya 18 is a very poor village. The private institution is making a great commitment for the development of this area. However, some people oppose it. Also, it should be remembered that this is a good program that will strengthen the economy of the village. So we as young people call for a positive decision. This does not fall within the buffer zone. The buffer zone is some 3 kilometers away from the venue. The company will develop the infrastructure via this program. In addition, this will pave job creation as well. The people are finding it difficult to survive. After the arrival of this company, the people are enjoying life.
The Democratic Tamil National Alliance's request to officially use the name Tamil National Alliance has been rejected by the National Election Commission.
The Democratic Tamil National Alliance's request to officially use the name Tamil National Alliance has been rejected by the National Election Commission. The Additional Commissioner of the National Election Commission, BPC Kularatna, has informed in writing to the Democratic Tamil National Alliance that their request was denied. He added that despite the TNA being an unregistered party, they have been conducting themselves as a political party for a long time, and hence the request cannot be granted in this regard. A collection of 3 parties, namely Ilange Tamil Arasu Katchi and the People's Liberation Organization of Tamil Eelam and the Tamil Eelam Liberation Organization, conducted themselves as the Tamil National Alliance until this year. Meanwhile, the Ilange Tamil Arasu Katchi party decided to run alone in the local government election that was announced in 2023 under the symbol of the house. In return, the People's Liberation Organization of Tamil Eelam and the Tamil Eelam Liberation Organization later on left the Tamil National Alliance coalition and joined with the People's Revolutionary Liberation Front along with 2 other parties, namely the Tamil National Party and the Democratic Fighters, to form the Democratic Tamil National Alliance. However, the Democratic Tamil National Alliance's request to officially use the name Tamil National Alliance was rejected by the National Election Commission.
Sri Lanka received the first tranche of funding for budget support from the World Bank.
Sri Lanka's State Finance Minister Shehan Semasinghe said that the first disbursement of $250 million from the World Bank budget support program was received on Tuesday. On the 28th of June 2023, the World Bank Board of Directors also approved $700 million in financing for 2 operations to help Sri Lanka implement foundational reforms that restore macroeconomic stability and sustainability, mitigate the impact of current and future shocks on the poor and vulnerable, and support an inclusive and private sector-led recovery and growth path. The Sri Lanka Resilience, Stability and Economic Turnaround Development Policy Operation will support reforms that help improve economic governance, enhance growth and competitiveness, and protect the poor and vulnerable. It will provide budget support in 2 equal tranches against agreed prior actions. The Social Protection Project seeks to support Sri Lanka in providing better targeted income and livelihood opportunities to the poor and vulnerable and improving the responsiveness of the social protection system.
The Asian Development Bank has appointed Takafumi Cardono as a new country director for Sri Lanka.
The Asian Development Bank has appointed Takafumi Cardono as a new country director for Sri Lanka, who has assumed office in Colombo. Cardono succeeds Chen Chen, who ended his term as country director on 30th of June 2023. Cardono, a Japanese national, joined ADB in 2006 as a young professional in the East Asia Regional Department. He then held progressive positions in Central and West Asia Department and Southeast Asia Department as an energy specialist, including being stationed in Vietnam from 2012 to 2015, where he led projects in the power sector value chain from generation and transmission to distribution. He also promoted the development of renewable energy in a fossil fuel-dominated generation subsector.
Officials from Andhra Pradesh have invited its businessmen to explore opportunities to invest in Sri Lanka.
Governor of the Eastern Province of Sri Lanka, Sendil Tondaman, and Deputy High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in Southern India, Dr. Venkateshwaran, interacted with office bearers and members of Andhra Pradesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry Federation on Monday and explained about the various business opportunities in Sri Lanka for various entrepreneurs from Andhra Pradesh. They stated that due to the economic crisis in Sri Lanka, the government wants to reduce imports and encourage exports from the country. They encouraged entrepreneurs to set up units for food processing and aqua or kickstart business ventures in tourism and other sectors in Sri Lanka. The Indian officials had said the Sri Lankan government will extend all support and also allot land on lease. They had pointed out many important commodities that can be produced in Sri Lanka and exported to countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India and Singapore without any duties.
A Dhammachakra Pravartana Day was held in Tokyo, Japan.
A Dhammachakra Pravartana Day was organized by the Vivekananda Cultural Center of the Indian Embassy in Tokyo, Japan. A special puja was performed by monks of the Lankaji and Sambuddhaloka temples. The President of the Mahabodhi Society of Sri Lanka, Chief Sanganaik of Japan, Chief Priest Lankaji Temple, Venerable Banagalu Patisatero, attended the event as well. Srimati Kanika Agrawal, the Director General of Vivekananda Cultural Center of the Indian Embassy, and Sesat Tambugala, Minister, Deputy Chief of Mission of the Sri Lanka Embassy in Tokyo, Japan, also participated in this event.
First up in news overseas, Pakistan has implemented a presidential ordinance that grants additional detention powers to the country's anti-graft body.
The National Accountability Bureau, which is currently investigating former Prime Minister Imran Khan in a graft case, will now be able to issue arrest warrants and detain suspects for up to 30 days if they refuse to cooperate with the investigation.
Imran Khan, the main opposition leader, was arrested in May related to this case, resulting in widespread protests across the country. He was later released on bail. The National Accountability Bureau will now be able to issue arrest warrants and detain suspects for up to 30 days if they refuse to cooperate with the investigation. The changes to the law were made just before Khan and his wife were scheduled to appear before the NAB in Islamabad for hearings in other cases. The government can quickly pass laws through a presidential ordinance when the parliament is not in session, but it must be endorsed by the assembly within 90 days. Despite parliament being in session, it was prorogued through a government notification posted on its website on Monday. The ordinance was then issued on Monday night. Government officials alleged that Khan and his wife received valuable land as a bribe from a real estate tycoon, Malik Riaz, through a charitable trust. Both Khan and his aides, as well as the tycoon, have previously denied any wrongdoing.
Facebook owner Meta is launching its new app to rival Twitter and says it will go live on Thursday.
The app, which is called Threads and is available for pre-order on the Apple App Store, will be linked to Instagram. Screen grabs show a dashboard that looks similar to Twitter. Meta describes Threads as a text-based conversation app. The move is the latest in a rivalry between Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg and Twitter owner Elon Musk. Last month, the pair agreed to a physical fight, though it is unclear how serious the two men were about actually holding a bout.
Sri Lanka captain Chamariyathapattu has been rewarded for her superb recent form by becoming the new #1 ranked batter on the latest ICC Women's ODI batting rankings.
Sri Lanka women's captain Chamariyathapattu claims top billing from Australia opener Beth Mooney on the back of her excellent series against New Zealand that netted a total of 248 runs from 3 matches and included an amazing knock of 140 from just 80 deliveries that helped her side record an unlikely series triumph. It was the first time that Sri Lanka had beaten New Zealand in a bilateral women's ODI series, and it was on the back of a mountain of runs from their inspirational skipper in Athapattu. The 33-year-old hit an unbeaten 108 in the opening match of the 3-game series, and a first ball duck in the second clash did little to temper the aggression of the confident left-hander heading into the series decider. Athapattu becomes the first Sri Lankan woman to top the women's ODI rankings, joining male compatriot Sanath Jayasuriya as the only 2 players from the island nation to have held the #1 spot in the history of the ODI rankings.
Meanwhile, Scotland beat Zimbabwe by 31 runs in the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifier in Bulawayo.
Batting first, Scotland posted 234 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in their 50 overs. Michael Lisk top scored with 48, while George Munsey, Brandon McCullum and Matthew Cross contributed to the score. Chasing 235 to win, Zimbabwe were bundled out for 203 runs in 41.1 overs. Ryan Burl top scored with 83, and it proved to be not enough for the hosts to reach the target.
And with that, we're our primetime news for tonight.
For details of the stories and much more, you can log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Good night and take care.